Are you ready on Jason William Phipps, Mr. Clemens, the inmate?
I would like Jason talk.
All right, I knew we had on second call, so I'll pass it.
Thank you, Ron. I do have an announcement.
All right. April Smithia.
Your Honor, for Ms. Smithia, she's charged with a violation of probation. Today, the intention is to admit to the violation of probation, agree to state, extend probation for an additional year, and be required as a condition to complete an alcohol and drug assessment and comply with any recommendations thereof.
All right, so she's going to admit her violation, be revoked to serve the sentence, but reinstated on time served and extended for an additional 1 year period. And as an additional condition of her probation, she would have to undergo alcohol and drug assessment, follow treatment recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Smithia, raise your right hand. Let's place you under oath.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
State your full name for the record.
Ms.
Smithia, you are here today charged with probation violation. Do you understand that you have a right to plead not guilty and to have a hearing in this court where the state would be required to prove to the legal standard that you had violated your probation?
Yes, sir.
You understand that if we had that hearing, you would have the right to have a lawyer and have one appointed. Of course, we've done that with the public defender.
Yes, sir.
You understand that if we had the hearing and I found you guilty, you could appeal whatever I did in your case to the Court of Criminal Appeals and have a lawyer appointed to help you with that appeal. You understand that by entering this plea of guilty, you're waiving your right to a hearing and to an appeal. All I'm going to do is prove what the lawyer's worked out. You understand that?
Yes.
Do you wish to plead guilty and waive your right to the hearing and to the appeal?
Yes, sir.
Then upon your plea, I found you guilty of violating your probation or that you be revoked to serve your sentence, but by agreement with the state and on time served, you're reinstated to probation and extended for a period of 1 year. As an additional condition of your probation, you're required to undergo an alcohol and drug assessment and follow the treatment recommendations. If you don't do that, then that's a violation that will send you back to jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Good luck. All right. Going back to 2025 CR 34, State versus Wesley Joe Price. Mr. Clemens.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Price, on up.
Should be being arraigned on a superseding indictment. We'd like to set this for plea
In December. But so this is for arraignment on a superseding indictment. Do you wish a full reading of that indictment?
No, Your Honor.
Tender a copy.
Your Honor, on behalf of the defendant, acknowledge receipt of copy. Indictment with the reading, enter plea not guilty.
Plea not guilty is entered status on December the 8th of 2025.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. (2025) CR 22, State versus Dewey Preston Robinson.
Come up here. Come up here.
Mr. Robinson, you are charged with aggravated burglary of a habitation, possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, and assault by use of threat of bodily injury. This is here today because it's a status to allow the state to allow the court to determine where we are in trial preparations. You're representing yourself, is that correct?
May have to change that though. The state sent me a DVD that I can't watch on anything. It says it's HVEC protected. I can't watch it on anything I have in my house.
He does have appointed counsel. He has a public defender in Houston County. This has a contained case. set for status on the 25th this month. I think it would be easier for him and the state, honestly, if we could get him the PD here, Your Honor, and move these cases.
How did he obtain a public defender in Houston County? You have,
I don't think
all right. Mr. Clemens will appoint your office to represent him since your office already represents him on the other matters.
Yes,
Let's,
We can go ahead and give it a trial date if you all would like.
well, I mean, we'll just, there's really, that's up to you. At this point, he now has an attorney on these charges. And I don't know whether or not that's going to, I don't want to set a trial date if it's just going to be resolved. So let's put it on December the 8th for status. If you all work out an agreement between now and the later in the month in Houston County, then you can do a package deal over there.
We'll be ready for the Your Honor. Well,
All right, we'll put it on December the 8th.
thank
All right, let's talk about that. Judge David D. Wolfe had a busy docket here, and what stood out most was the way he managed to keep the hearing organized while making sure everyone understood exactly what was happening. First up was April Smith's probation violation, and this is where you really see Judge Wolfe's steady hand. He walked her through every right she was giving up by admitting the violation her right to a hearing. Her right to appeal, and he didn't rush it. His tone was firm but patient, making sure she wasn't just nodding along but actually following. You could tell he wanted the record to be crystal clear that she understood the consequences. Smith herself was polite, straightforward, and respectful in her responses. She didn't try to make excuses. She admitted to the violation and agreed to the conditions laid out. The agreement between counsel and the court was fair. Time served, probation extended 1 year, plus the requirement of an alcohol and drug assessment with follow-up treatment. That's a classic example of balancing accountability with rehabilitation. Wolfe even gave her a little warning that if she didn't comply, she'd be back in jail, and he said it in that nonsense way that drives the point home without lecturing. Next up was Wesley Joe Price, who was arraigned on a superseding indictment. This was a shorter moment, but again, Judge Wolfe handled it cleanly. He asked Price if he wanted a full reading of the indictment. The plea of not guilty was entered, and the status date was set for December. Nothing flashy, but it showed Wolfe's methodical approach. He's not the type to gloss over formalities. And that kind of consistency matters because it keeps the process orderly. Then we had Dewey Preston Robinson, which was a little more complicated. Robinson started off by saying he was representing himself, though he hinted he might change that. He complained that he couldn't view the DVD evidence because it was protected, which in fairness is a real issue if you're trying to prepare a defense without the proper tools. The court quickly sorted that out by pointing out he did, in fact, have appointed counsel. Wolfe moved to get him under representation formally so the process wouldn't stall. There was also discussion about coordinating with another county, where Robinson had pending matters, and Judge Wolfe wisely scheduled a status date instead of forcing a trial date prematurely. That was a good call. It allowed time for the attorneys to sort out whether this could be resolved together with his other charges, which avoids unnecessary duplication of effort. Robinson himself came across as somewhat frustrated but not disruptive. You could see the court nudging him toward proper representation, which was definitely in his best interest. Overall, the courtroom atmosphere was calm, steady, and professional. There weren't any outbursts, and Wolfe's demeanor set the tone. He was firm when he needed to be, especially with the probation warning. But he also showed flexibility and patience in dealing with scheduling and representation issues. Attorneys on both sides came across prepared and cooperative, which helped keep things moving. This wasn't a hearing with dramatic fireworks, but it had a little of everything: an admission of a violation, an arraignment, and some procedural wrangling over representation. And through it all, Judge Wolfe kept things on track, clear and fair. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one.